Hey guys, this is Beth with Sassy and Crafty, and today I'm going to be using our Flower Child set to make a couple of different cards. We're going to be using some stencils, and I'm going to show you a little bit of masking just to do some fun stuff here. Now, this set has multiple little flowers, and what I'm doing right now is just kind of placing them where I would think they're going to look good after I use that stencil. I do use a stamp positioner to do most of my stamping. I find that that's one of the easiest ways to do that. It's a little bit harder without a stamp positioner, but not impossible. Now, I've laid my stamps down and I'm kind of just playing with them, getting them exactly where I want, and then I'm going to use that magnet to hold it in place. When everything looks good, I'm going to close this lid and lift up, and I'll lift up all my stamps, and then I'll go ahead and ink those up. Now, I am using Ink on 3 Blackout, but any ink can do. It's just really going to depend on what you're trying to do. I thought that I might color this card, and Ink on 3's Blackout is a really good ink for that, but I ended up not, so I think you guys are going to be really excited about how it showed up in the end. So I'm pressing down pretty good here, just trying to get full coverage. But the great thing about a stamp positioner is that if you don't get good coverage the first time, a good impression, that you can stamp it again. And that's kind of, why I use this. So it not only allows me to place the stamps exactly where I want, but guess what? If you don't like the way it looks the first time, stamp again. All right, so just pressing down there, and here we go, lifting up, and I like the way it looks. So now I'm going to place it on my 𝐂𝐤𝐧𝐥𝐢𝐬 mat, and I'm going to use a mask to cover those up. Now, the important thing about masking to remember is that whatever you want to show on top, you stamp first. So with this, I want my flowers to be in front of my background, so I'm going to place these masks down and I'm going to stamp them and then mask them. Now, this mask material is 𝐂𝐤𝐿 Easy Mask, but you can use full sticky notepads, light tack tape. You can even use cardstock if you'd like. Really, what you need is you need the exact stamped impression placed over so that when we go to ink blend or stamp, that it's not going to show. And this used to be something that really confused me at first, but you know what? It ends up being really easy and creates this really beautiful look. Now, you can notice that with these masks, obviously I had used this before. That's okay. The mask does dry. This particular material does dry, so it's not going to run onto my project. And now I'm just going to tape it down. I like the 𝐂𝐤𝐧𝐥𝐢𝐬 mat because it has the magnets, but just beware if you're using the magnets, you don't want them to cover your project. So I do a kind of a double duty. I really don't want my stencil to move at all. So I'm going to place that stencil down. I do use a little bit of pixie spray to hold it in place. That's just a repositional stencil. And there we go. This is our wonky stripe stencil, and I'm using distressed oxides today. They are my favorite ink blending inks, but you can use just about any ink. And I'm just getting my colors set up here. I usually do rainbows for just about everything that I make, but today I wanted a little more of a hippie vibe, and I kind of noticed that the pinks and the oranges and the yellows were more prominent. So this stencil is a really great one, but I am going with the lines of the stencil. And the reason I'm doing that is just because it is a little more delicate than some of our other stencils. And when you go with the lines, it's always good because you know that you're not going to move that stencil as much. And I really don't want my stencil to move. So again, going with the lines here, and I'm going super quick through this. So this is a really fun and easy technique if you guys are looking to do something quick, if you're mass producing but you want to do something special and unique. I always love pulling out a stencil and doing a good ink blend because it is really going to look amazing really quickly. Now, I ended up going back over this a little bit, but you can see that it's starting to look really cool. My favorite thing is always pulling the stencil up. I'm going to come in with the orange. And I think at the end here I decided I wanted a little more red. So I came in with the fire brick red right there at the bottom, just to kind of give it that kind of hippie vibe that I was going for. We actually just released this stamp and stencil set on January 1st. It's our first release of 2021, so we're super excited for it. And this year we released 6 new stencils and 6 new stamps. So this is one of the stamp sets and one of the stencils that I'm working with right now. It's brand spanking new. Now I'm really starting to like the way that this is coming together, but I added a little more orange just to really have that color be very distinct and separate from the yellow. And then we're almost ready for the big reveal. I always love this part. It looks like you've got a huge mess and then you pull back the stencil and it's so cool. Check that out. And you see the pixie spray actually pulled up some of the masks, so you kind of already know what this is going to look like, which is really fun. And I came in, my fingers got a little inky, so when I was pulling up the other masks, I came in with some very needlepoint little grabbers there, and that helped me pick at it without worrying about getting extra ink. And like I said, I originally thought that I would color these in, but I loved how it looked when I pulled up the mask, and I just decided that I didn't need anything else on this card. So I was really happy with it, and so now I'm going to add the sentiment. I like VersaFine Clair for sentiments because it is not good for Copic coloring, but it is great crisp and black for sentiments. So I'm just going to grab that, and there's a couple different sentiments on this set, but I went with a really sweet one, and I couldn't decide at first where I wanted it to go. I realized that this tape was kind of making it hard to see exactly what this was going to look like, and I was like, well, does it look better at the bottom? Does it look better at the top? I thought about maybe doing a popped up sentiment, but you'll see here at the end, I decided to go with the sentiment at the bottom, and I'm really excited about it. I think it looked great. And, you know, the other cool thing is if I wanted to cut this down and add just a little more pop, I could add a little border, and that would be great. And this sentiment says, bloom where you are planted, which I think is perfect for these flowers. I did stamp it a little bit off, but what's great about this stencil is because it's not exactly straight lines. When you look at it, it's really hard to tell. Now, moving on to our next card, we have these 2 great stencils this release, our psychedelic stencil and our flower stencil. And what I love about these is that they automatically have a space for a focal point. So I stamped our little girl from Flower Child. That's our little Flower Child girl. And I'm going to use a mask to cover her up. And we've got this great stencil that I'm going to use to just highlight that stamp. So as you can see in the middle, it's solid, which is great for a flower stamp or a girl's, you know, just anything that you want to focus and really bring it in. This is also cool if you want to do some effects like circus effects, you know, those spinning wheels. That's kind of what I was thinking of when I created this stencil. I was really fun illusions. I decided to do a little more color on this one. After seeing the other card that I had made earlier, I knew that I wasn't going to color the girl, so I wanted something really bright and fun for the background. I kind of winged it here. I'm going to be honest. I didn't count how many spirals there are or think about the rainbow. I just, as I saw that, I didn't have my traditional 5 colors for the rainbow, I added a few more colors, a few more blues. So I decided not to go with broken china. Oh, I did decide to go with broken china right here. So I do love how soft these oxides are with this stencil. And I came in and I went in with the red, and at this point I'm not even going in rainbow order, but I'm really excited about how this turned out. And the cool thing with using multiple colors, especially when you have a stencil and they're clearly divided, you don't have to worry about them rubbing together or getting muddy. And it's almost a color wheel, but not quite. So now I'm thinking, oh no, I only have 2 colors left. But that's okay. Some people are planners. I'm not a planner, but I always am excited about the way things come out. And the fun thing with stencils is it's really hard to make a mistake, and it's always fun when it comes out. So I decided to go with a couple greens here. I've got that Twisted Citron, which is so fun and bright. And since I knew already that I'd kind of, I won't say messed up, but that I had, used colors that weren't in proper rainbow order, I decided to come back in with another yellow. This fossilized amber is so pretty and golden, and then finished up with another green. So the greens didn't go together, and it gave a little separation to kind of finish that out. And I love this green. It's so, so pretty. Now, right now, looking at this, I can tell you I'm almost scared to pull it back. If you ever get that feeling, you're like, oh no, I don't know if I made a mistake at this point. But you know what? I pulled it back and it looks awesome. We'll peel that mask up, and this is what I love about that stencil is you can use any color, any kind of thing, and it really just focuses right on that thing that you're trying to direct attention to, which is really, really cool. Don't mind my unicorn tape. I use that on my shaker cars and it kind of got knocked over, but I just put this little sentiment down here. Kindness rocks, because I think we need kindness always in this world. And I just wanted to show you a couple other stamps, a couple other cards that I made with these stencils. Like I said, we have 2 that create that focal point, our floral and our swirl there. So I had made this shaker card earlier and I was going to show you guys how to do it, but then my camera wasn't recording. So definitely let me know in the comments if you guys would love to see a shaker card the next time I join Scrapbook Expo. But here are some other projects made with our little flower girl. I just love how different you can do with these, how many different things you can do with these projects, and how cute she is. This is another shaker, and oranges and yellows were really popular for this project with my team, and I think they all turned out so fabulous. I love this shaker card. That's also using our droplet stencil. And then this is just another sentiment from that stamp set, and it's probably my favorite because I'm one of those regular weird people. But I love this little doily project that Claire made from our team. Now, I have a bonus card for you. We have a new product this month, and it is our Rainbow Word stamp set. And this consists of 2 stamp sets this month, and it consists of our Rainbow Words Love and our Create Your Rainbow words. So the way this stamp set works is that one of the stamp sets has these half circle word statements, and then one of the set has the traditional rainbow stamps. And you can use any of these separately. You can also bend them because they're very flexible. So you can bend them and use them on other projects. But what I did here is I use this as a rainbow, and what's great about that is that the words actually fit in between your rainbow stripes. So I'm just going to do a quick demo here of how it works. I do suggest that if you're doing the full rainbow, you start with the biggest word, half circle, and this one is, I decided I was going to do it in pink and blue. Now, a lot of people don't actually stamp with distressed oxides, but one of the ways that I find that stamping words with distressed oxides is better is to use a little blending brush and kind of blend that ink over. You can see me doing that, and what that does is it removes some of the extra wetness and allows the words to be easily seen. So you can see that stamped perfectly. And that bigger one on this set says love without limits. Now that you have your first stamp, you're going to set up the next stamp directly underneath it. Now, it's pretty easy to see through, but what I found is that, you know, you definitely want to look through and make sure that the stamp is not overlapping the words. And sometimes that can be a little difficult, but you can see here, even at the top, I was a little closer than I kind of had planned to be, but that is okay. It's still readable. We have a nice big font, so if you do get it a little off, it's not a big deal. Another easy way to line it up is that the bottoms are all at the same point. So if you want to pull out a ruler or another straight edge, you can set those stamps up at the bottom so that they're exactly the same. And you can see what it looks like from one of the stamp sets moving with the other one into that next little rainbow there. And I wasn't really sure where I was going. I was just kind of trying to like test the things. I had stamped this once before, just kind of testing it out. So my stamps are a little dirty because I hadn't cleaned them yet. And the one thing that I found, like, this is next to impossible without a MISTI or another stamping platform. So just keep that in mind, just for me. Maybe there's a trick out there that I don't know about, but I found personally that if I didn't have my MISTI, I would probably be at a total loss. Now, the other cool thing about this is that these sets, we are planning on doing more of the word sets. So if you do get the rainbow, the Create Your Rainbow set, you can use that by itself. You don't have to use the love set. And then I think in a couple months, I know that we're going to have a birthday set and all different kinds of things. So the great thing about that is these little half circles are going to be there and work with this set. So just keep that in mind if you maybe don't love one of the sets but you love the other set. They do work on their own, and there are more coordinating sets coming, which, you know, I definitely have gotta have it all syndrome. So, gotta have them all. All right, so this is moving right along, and this was my first time using this stamp set. I did create it, and I get, you know, sometimes when you create things, you're like, I hope it works, I hope it works, and it does work, which was really exciting. But it took me a little minute. So definitely start from the outside and work your way in. The other thing is with the love words, it has a little heart that goes with it. So you can use that heart separately. You can actually fit that heart in the bottom of the rainbow. So that's fun. So this is a really fun one for Valentine's cards, anniversary cards, just trying to say something sweet to your significant other. And one of the things about it that I wanted to make sure that I did is that I wanted it to be something that you could use on any type of card. So it's really just a great way to do a different stamp. And the reason that we did stamps and we didn't do a stencil or something that might have been a little easier like a die was because stamping offers you so many different techniques that you can't do with stencils. This can be embossed, you can do some other things with it that I knew that there were some stencils out there that did something similar. I thought that a stamp would be awesome. So the first time, I will admit, it takes a second to figure it out. But after you stamp it out the first time, it works great. And honestly, I love the way that this is going. And I'm usually a colorist. I love coloring. I love mixed media. But this was a simple way to make a fun, bright card. Now, if you wanted to make this faster, you could set up your second go at the same time. So you could do 1 and 2 of multiple cards and then set up 3 and 4. Or you could stop here. That's the other thing, is you don't have to use every part of the rainbow. You can use some parts of it and make the rainbow say what you want it to say. Or it doesn't have to be a rainbow at all. It can just be a fun half circle. Now, this is an A2 card, so that rainbow does measure just a little over 5 inches wide at its widest point. So it does fill up in an A2 card completely. If you want it to have a little more space, I honestly was thinking about doing a 6x6 after I saw this, or you can just not use the outer saying. It's totally up to you, and that's what's so cool about this set. So there it is. I think we have the heart is the last piece, so I'm going to set that in there. The heart does fit perfectly inside that smaller rainbow as well, so you can use that and put that in there and make it a little love rainbow. And I just did this one in red. Now, here's the thing. You can go traditional rainbow, kind of like I did. You can also do a lot of different things with this set. So I didn't make a mistake there on the upper right, but it came right off with my Tombow eraser, and that's the final stamp. So that's how the stamp works all together. It really makes that awesome rainbow. And there is a finished card right there. We have some other samples using part of the rainbow or some of the other sentiments, just so you can get an idea of other ways to use this stamp set. I'm really in love with what our team did. So you can find this entire release at www.sassyandcrafty.com. And I just want to say thank you to Scrapbook Expo for including us again this month. And I hope that you enjoy everything that you've seen today. And I will see you next time. Bye!